Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're streaming now.
Oh, I saw something. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe the whole Madden thing is like the third rail, man. Maybe you don't want to get near that thing. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
What's the upside? I don't know.
We could get banned. I mean, we could say some bad shit and be banned for life from fucking Twitter and Facebook, and we could get what they call shadow bans, whatever it is.
What?
Oh man,
dude, I just had the entire list of the songs up on the chat.
Oh,
it's still there.
That's gone now.
Who's
But nobody's in the chat yet. Nobody's in the chat, so that's okay.
Ah.
Oh
That's
shit.
how you. What's funny? We did this game, Deal No Deal, the redemption game.
Oh yeah.
In the arcades, and we had you had to make it a skill game. So we had we kind of like revealed we did like this swapping of the answers. Like we showed the answers really brief and like swapped them around and shit and stuff. And the crazy thing, people could actually figure that out. It was incredible. People can pick out like a frame, one frame in the 60th of a second and tell you what it was.
I know. Well, that's the same thing on this show. When they listen to these songs for 1 second, boom, they get it.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Mark?
I am agreeing. Sorry, I'm typing at the same time.
Oh boy.
Ask Eugene questions. Go. Okay, here it goes.
We'll give it a couple more minutes and then we'll.
Okay, I'm gonna get a glass of water. I'll be back.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Okay, let's riff here then.
All right.
Repeat.
I am logging in on the other machine here. There we go.
So I just turned 49. It's pretty good. Can't tell the difference. Nothing broke.
That's good.
Great. How old are you? You're like a younger man, aren't you?
I guess so. All right.
No comment.
Yeah, I'm 46.
Oh my God, that's so old. No.
That's fucked up, man. Dude, I mean, at least you're probably grateful you got that far.
So far, yeah.
I'm glad. Well, I'm more grateful I wasn't born in the 1700s, really. So that, and it's cool. The older you live, the more like cool technology stuff comes out. So I'm into that.
It's true, man.
Dave,
That's true, man.
what the hell? You guys have disappeared from OBS.
What'd you do?
I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm checking right now.
Checking.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, you're just completely gone. It's like I closed the window.
There's like a black hole on the.
There we go. I got it. It was a little weird, though. All of a sudden, you were gone. Can't minimize that window, I guess. We'll have to figure that out. Maybe next year. We got all kinds of things to do this episode, I think.
There's already a question for Eugene. Whose brainchild was Target Terror?
Oh, Target Terror. Yeah, I got. I can answer that one.
Go ahead.
Are we on the air or not?
We've been on the air for like 5 minutes.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. We were just waiting for some chatter to get into the swing of things here, and then we're gonna kick it off. So why don't we hold that question for a little bit, and why don't we just get things? We'll get things rolling here. What do you think?
Okay.
All right, man. Here we go. All right. Well, and you'll know when it's time to turn the page when you hear the chimes go like this.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You've tuned in to the season finale of Arcade Radio. Is there anybody actually going to listen to this?
Live from KOIR Studios in Minneapolis, Minnesota, this is Arcade Radio. Intruder alert, intruder alert.
Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 26 of the Arcade Radio Podcast. This is Episode 50, for those of you keeping count. Today is Thursday, August 30th, 2018, and this is the season finale of Season 2. And it's now approximately 7:25-ish Central Time. So thanks for joining us in the Arcadosphere. This is your host, One Adam West 12. Tonight I'm joined by Mark Time Runner Shields, and the guest host of Arcade Radio this week is the legendary Eugene Jarvis. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up?
What's up? Oh, we got some people in the chat. Let's talk a little bit about what you've been working on, Mark. Why don't you kick that section off, huh?
Sure thing. I picked up a Shinobi. Yes, it's in a System 1 Atari cabinet, and I plan to yank that Shinobi out of there and make it a Marble Madness.
Yank that Shinobi.
Nice.
I like the Marble Madness music. I'm surprised. I've actually never gotten to the end. I didn't know that you can play and then finish. That's kind of a bummer.
There's a finish?
That's what I hear.
Weird.
Or maybe it repeats. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to find out eventually. And so that's good. I got this from some guy that's like a mile away. So that was kind of a nice pickup. And then I lucked out. There was a guy on Facebook selling a Gauntlet 2, and he gave it to me for $200. It's pretty much working. It needs some like cleaning. But I had to pull the DeLorean card out because I saw he had a DeLorean, and I was like, "Hey, I have a DeLorean too, and it's like this and blah blah blah." And then that was it. He held the game for me, even though like a billion people were trying to get it, and so that was pretty neat.
$200, man. That's a
good deal.
I think Ed Log would be rolling over in his grave, man.
Oh, I know.
Actually, you're still alive, right?
Probably. As with all Atari games, the pokey doesn't work. So you gotta love your dead pokey.
Ed Log will be rolling over in his grave.
Yes.
I think Eugene killed Ed Log.
He's not there yet. And then next week I'm going to go on vacay. We're going to Disneyland, and then we're going back to 1885 for 3 days. We're going to go back to the Old West, and we're going to zip line off the clock tower, and a whole bunch of like Back to the Future people and me are all going to nerd out.
Sweet. That sounds like a good time. Yeah.
Man, you have a life, dude. I'm super jealous, man. What's up with that?
Eugene, feel free to live vicariously through me. I will help you. I will assist you.
I often live vicariously through Mark as well. He's still a teenager, apparently, despite his actual age.
Okay.
No, I think it's great. Man, I would do all that. Well, I've been working on Journey. I didn't mention it last week, which is kind of ironic considering the theme of the music section. But that thing is stripped down to naked, and I got the control panel stripped down, and there's about 9 extra holes in it. So I have to bondo that thing up, and I hope to get that done probably tomorrow afternoon, actually. And then it's supposed to rain from like Sunday to forever. So I have to try to get it over to the shop to get it painted next week sometime.
Damn, that's Journey, the video game?
Yeah, it's a terrible game, but they're also super rare. So
yeah, I mean that was super revolutionary, man. I think that was the first digitized graphics.
It was. Yeah, they had originally they had planned on using the digitized graphics in a game for your high score, so you put in your name and your face. But when they test marketed the game, people were putting in private parts and stuff. So
I think they were flipping off.
Yeah. Flashing, flipping, etc. I thought that'd be awesome.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, it's no different than you putting an ass in there, right? Or FUK.
Yeah, like Xeroxing your butt, kind of.
Yeah, or SUK, and then IT. You had to play the game a few times to like make a sentence. Suck it!
Yeah, I mean, that started the whole deal with the digitized graphics, and talking about Smash TV and Narc and Targetera and all that stuff, man.
Cool. Speaking
Mortal
of
Kombat,
yeah. Oh, Mortal Kombat. We had
NBA Jam. I mean, all the golden age, man.
We had Doc Mack on the show a couple weeks ago. And that was fun. He talked a lot about Mortal Kombat. So.
Yeah, he's obsessed with it. He's been working on a new version, kind of some kind of new Mortal Kombat style digitized.
Yeah. I guess they're close to being done now after 10 years.
Yeah, and it's using that the whole live action digitizing, which I think it's so you just capture all the nuances of the actor, and there's something really cool about that. Even in this day of 3D modeling and mocap and everything, there's still something weird about you get kind of roboticized by that process, and just shooting straight digitized video, you still get like that real silky smooth, real acting, and it's you capture a lot more personality.
So you mentioned what you were working on, and that's delivering that Halo game you talked about last episode.
Right. So that thing. When was that last episode? When was it?
I don't think you were done. You had just you were testing it, and it was about ready to go. So.
Right. So anyway, yeah. So we got it all figured out. I mean, it's. I think we've shipped a couple hundred of them. They're at every Dave & Buster's has one of them.
Oh, I'm going there this Saturday.
And it's just insane. It's like 10 by 10 by like 11 feet high, and 4-player dual, 65-inch. Basically, we put two 65-inch 4K monitors together, so it's like a 130-inch panoramic 8K monitor, essentially, and it's just a spectacle, man. You're like right in, you're like inside of a Halo battle, and you're back in the early days, fighting on the rings, the Halo ring with the ODST guys, and
sweet.
I think even like Master Chief shows up for a couple of milliseconds, and then he went and did his thing, and then you're kind of left there to die with the rest of the guys. It's cool.
Awesome. Brought to you by Raw Thrills. That's gonna be friggin' awesome. How many games do you have in a Dave & Buster's on a given day? Do you think?
How many what?
How many games do you think Raw Thrills has in a Dave & Buster's? I mean, how much of the real estate do you guys occupy?
Maybe. I mean, we've done a lot of different. We have Raw Thrills games. Our Play Mechanics studio. Also does Raw Thrills games. We also do games for ICE.
Okay.
We did that Deal No Deal game with them. There's a new Giant Wheel of Fortune game. I mean, the thing's like 6 feet in diameter or something.
Yeah.
And we did this Kung Fu Panda. We did a number of really cool games with ICE.
Yeah, when I walk through there, I see the Raw Thrills logo on about a third of the games. No joke.
And then we do, of course, we do the giant, we do the giant Pac-Man with Namco, with the giant Space Invaders game with Kato.
Mm-hmm.
So we do a lot of different stuff. We have a lot of fun.
Sweet. Well, I think that we should move on to the next segment, which is, are we calling Dan?
Yeah, we call Dan Reed. And
Wait,
see if
I have a new clip of Dan.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, here, listen to this.
No. Get out of here. I was there. Oh my God. Are you dumb? So I'm just not really terribly impressed. I think they could have done something better. Well, that's it for news. Really? That thing is horrid. It's horrid. I can't imagine people are using it, but whatever.
All right, let's see if he picks up.
Okay.
This is a segment I don't know if we did with you last time, Eugene.
Yeah, we did. He picked it up last time.
Oh, did he? Yeah, okay, here we go. Bronco Billy loves Dan.
Pick up Dan.
Is this the guy that never answers his phone?
Yeah. And when he does, it's like usually really quick. He's not picking up. All right.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice message.
Hang on. So, chatters, yay or nay, do we want Dan back on the show? You go ahead and tell us. Okay, let's call him again. One more time. One more time, and then we'll give up.
Okay. Yeah, he could have been in the bathroom. Or...
Yeah, you never know. Oh, we got game glitches in Brian Frober. It's going to be interesting.
I don't think we're going to get any Dan.
That's right, hang up. So Bronco Billy says Dan is outside doing it. Dan is outside doing a Dan.
I bought a Pac-Man. Goodbye.
He did buy a Pac-Man. I talked to him last week and I had breakfast with him.
That's cool.
He's alive and well, former co-host of the show. So let's move on to the next segment.
It's the Arcade News with Adam Stevens.
Whoa. This comes to us by NBCLosAngeles.com. One event, 1,100 pinball and arcade machines. Even if you can't remember your ultimate high score on your favorite pinball or arcade machine, or even if you can't remember the music that would play as you pull the plunger, chances are solid that you're a wizard. So, at the very least, a pinball wizard in your heart, in your mind, which means you're the sort of person who would never pass up the chance to throw a coin in the slot when passing a glowing ding-ding-ding-ding artifact of yore. But where to pass by hundreds of such machines? Where would you possibly do this? And after paying one price, engage in free play on all of them? No slot feeding coins required? The answer is the Museum of Pinball in Banning. This is the pinball wonderland that isn't often open to the public, but when it is, it goes full and fabulous tilt. So, apparently over October 19th through 21st this year. Is that correct, Mark?
Yes, I hear they will swing the doors open.
Sweet. It's like $40 a ticket for Friday, and then $50
Jesus.
on Saturday.
Oh my God!
And $40 on Sunday. So,
ow!
Yeah, that's a lot of money. So there must be like a weekend pass. You must get a discount or something, right?
Okay.
Anyway, check it out. There's the Pinball Museum in Banning. Speaking of October, you know what's coming up?
Grinkfest.
Yes, Grinkfest in the Idaho Press of all places. They are reporting.
I found this old article. It's not very funny, but it's kind of like interesting what Steve does.
So this is an old article?
It's from May.
All right. So a local arcade owner is opening his doors early to accommodate a population of customers who want to play games but without all the noise. For fun, the Bliss family enjoys spending time at Grinker's Grand Palace, an arcade featuring old school games like Frogger, Pac-Man, and Space Invaders. But with all of the digital game sounds and 80s big hair bands playing over their speakers, it became too loud for comfort for some family members.
Wah, wah.
2 of my boys, Elijah and Ethan, have a functioning autism, Bliss said.
High functioning.
I'm sorry, high functioning autism. And yeah, I don't understand. They love Grinkers, but the music is too much for them. So, and I can understand that. You know, it's too much for me sometimes. So
I was hoping we'd make fun of this guy a little bit, but
which guy?
The dad who's like, this music's too darn loud.
Well, he's got 2 kids with high functioning autism. What do you want from him? He's protective dad,
it's
right?
It's better than low functioning. Come on.
Oh my God. Let's
Get
just
give him some earplugs and let him go during normal hours.
All right, let's just make fun of people with autism now. Okay.
I didn't say that. I'm making fun of the dad.
Moving on. So this one comes from WBTV.com. By the way, Grinkers is coming up October 11th, 12th, I think. Is that right? 11th?
Yeah, I'll be there. Will you be there?
I really haven't decided.
If you want to, well, I'll definitely be there.
I think I'll go. I'm actually just trying to talk Christine into it because it's.
Ooh, she should come.
That'd be fun.
Let's do couples.
She would have a great time.
Yeah.
So, and Eugene, you should go out to this thing. 250 of like some of the rarest games from like 1977 to 1984.
Ooh, and where is that?
It's in Eagle, Idaho.
Eagle, Idaho, man. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's how do you get there, man? How do you get there by the way the crow flies?
It's like a $200 flight, probably from Chicago. And
Eagle, Idaho.
Yeah,
huh?
and they have a Pac-Man maze that you fly over when you come into town. It's in the corn. It's really cool.
Oh, that is wacka wacka wacka, man. That is,
but you get
that's
this.
pretty cool.
It's actually super cool. This Steve Barbie opens his arcade up to everybody, and they make gourmet sandwiches and have some craft beers and some domestic beers on tap. And for all of the people that attend this gala event, everything's $1 for the weekend, and you just charge it to your badge. And at the end of the weekend, you pay your $38, and you're done. You know. It's actually pretty cool. There's a couple of really great breakfast places. There's an awesome steak place. You know, so if you want to hang out, they have a nice little Hilton there with, you know, some suites. I think I only paid like $169 a night or less.
Sweet, man. I'll hit that joint on my way to Banning, man.
There you go.
And you know, with I guess that's Richie Knuckles down there. You know,
I don't know. We could get Richie. We could probably get Richie if you really wanted to hang with him. So.
Yeah.
I think Richie is just now opening an arcade again.
Oh yeah.
Back in Jersey, or I heard he was moving all his stuff to Banning, but you know, who knows?
Oh man, I can't imagine him on the wrong coast.
Yeah, he's been a lot of turmoil there. You know, he's opening his arcade, he's closing it.
I know, yeah. He put it in place and didn't tell anybody about it, and then they got mad, and then I'm like, come on.
All right.
It was light, it was dark, it was light, it was dark, it was light, it was dark.
He forgot to tell like the city
council, yeah. Why do they care?
But I mean, it's like, you know, I don't know. It's like an arcade. I mean, you can have medical marijuana, but you can't have an arcade.
Exactly.
It's the last and left is like playing games in an arcade. Somehow we need to protect society from this thing.
Yes, please don't stand in front of a wooden box with a joystick.
Yeah, good lord.
Anyway, you fly from Chicago to Boise. It's like a 20-minute drive to Eagle, maybe 25. It's, you know, super simple. It's fun to wake up, see the mountains. Nice crisp autumn mornings. Have some breakfast. You know, play some games. It's a good time. So, you know, and I know you don't have anything else to do, so come on down. And if Christine doesn't come, you can room with me, and I don't even snore. We can have
double bed.
We can have separate rooms. I'll get a suite. I'll stay on the couch. All right, so here you go. Duo wanted in armed robbery at Gaming Arcade in Catawba County.
And before you read this, there's other articles. They call it a skilled gaming arcade.
Interesting.
Skill.
Yeah. I think that's like code for eight-liners.
Interesting.
Yeah, when they say a skilled gamer, they mean a not skilled gamer.
Yes.
So apparently, deputies in Catawba County are looking for 2 men who robbed a local gaming arcade at gunpoint on Tuesday morning. The robbery happened just before 6 a.m. at the Hook Arcade on the 2800 block of Springs Road. Too bad they couldn't nail 2600.
It was 5 a.m. first of all, and there's people in there.
Why were there? It's 6 a.m. it says, but yeah, but still, I mean, they're like, what the hell? So officials said that the business was open for regular business hours when the masked duo came in and robbed the place of an undisclosed amount of money, like $16.25. So they left in a 4-door vehicle, possibly a Honda.
I'm glad they told you that.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
They might have took the bitcoins, man.
They
left
left
the
in
thumb drive, man. That was it.
That's it. They got that code.
They left in a vehicle, possibly a make and model.
They were in a car and it drove away.
So investigators say at least one man was carrying a gun during the robbery. No injuries were reported. So yeah, that's a lot of violence in Well, we didn't talk about the whole, Madden thing. That was awful.
Yeah, super tragic.
Yeah, so video games beget violence. That's what we know.
Yeah. No.
But why Madden? Why'd they go after Madden?
I don't know, man. It's taking things a little too seriously.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess he was like armed to the hilt, and he only used one weapon. I mean, this is the terrible state of the country, with guns just blazing everywhere. But if it had been like Fortnite or Halo, that would have been it. No more.
Right.
What's your take on that,
Right.
Eugene?
I had to shut down the internet. I had to been looking the internet more than Kim Kardashian's behind.
That's right.
Yeah, that's terrible. So should we move on to the next section? And by the way, there's a free T-shirt today.
That's good. I shortened this section so we can get to quizzing and grilling. Not drilling. We're not drilling.
Wow,
Eugene.
yeah,
We're just grilling him.
No, that sounds good. I think my soundboard's about to crash.
Can you play one last thing?
Yeah. Let's try it.
Back in '82, I used to be able to throw a pigskin a quarter mile.
Back to the cave with Time Runner.
Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull?
There sure is.
Welcome to Back to the Cave. Today we're going back to August 30th, 1985. Now, it was a mere 33 years ago? Yeah. So what was going on back then? Let's see. So Atari Games started location testing Gauntlet. By the way, I picked up a Gauntlet for $200. Remember that?
No.
Dungeons and Dragon nerds everywhere were able to buy more health for one of 4 choosable characters at 25 cents a pop. Hey, the idea of continuing a video game by adding more money, that was first developed in the 80s. And do you think Eugene thought of that?
Ah, did he?
What was that, man?
He's having a sip of his water.
Continue, the whole, continue the game.
Oh, continue.
That whole
concept.
concept.
I wish I did fit it. I wish I thought of that. I was.
Do you remember
figured that out? There was some unsung hero there, the true genius of modern video game gaming.
I mean, were you ever in a meeting and somebody said, Eugene, we have to change the game so it continues?
I was one of the guys like, man, you'll destroy the integrity of the whole industry.
Nice.
Like, you must be able to play 24 hours on a quarter.
Someone got the food.
Once you get rid of that, man, our moral integrity is down the tubes.
Nice.
And but yeah, that was a brilliant thing because what was going on is we had all these expert players would literally play hours and hours for a quarter, and then the bad players would die in 20 seconds, and so we kind of, I think we burned out a lot of bad players. They got turned off to the whole industry, and but bad players often have a lot of money. They could just continue and continue and continue, and they can have get to all the cool waves and all the cool stuff at the end of the game. So that was brilliant, and do you guys have any idea what the first game to do that was?
I don't.
Was Gauntlet? Or was it, because I thought you could do that on Dragon's Lair.
You could do it in Tron.
You could do it on Tron if they had the dip switch or the setting on.
Oh, you could do it on Tron, really?
Yeah, but it only let you continue so many times, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Maybe it was Tron. I don't know. It was super brilliant, and that's, in some ways, that concept is what monetizes all mobile games today, almost.
Yeah.
The idea of buying your way to a win through either buying cool stuff or buying extra moves in Candy Crush, or
sure, Yeah, Tron did have a dip switch setting, and there was a setting in the game to make it continue, but I don't think you could forever continue. Actually, I got tired of those games, though. If you think about the late 80s and Atari, they had, Stun Runner and APB and all these games that came out on those medium res monitors. You could buy your score, and it gets tiring after a while,
Yeah, well, my point about sacrificing your moral integrity for a good quarter.
Right.
I don't know. It kind of. That was it was a deal with the devil, because in some ways, you take a game like Smash TV, an incredible game, but all of a sudden the high score meant nothing. And Narc was the same way. It was Narc was the same concept. Of take that money and keep going, and so really, it kind of changed the whole dynamic of it, and it became very difficult to translate to a console title too, because and in the arcade environment, you have a limited amount of money, and when you're paying real money for all these things, then you're not just going to continue willy-nilly. But when you transfer that to a free-play environment, it completely cheapens the game, and you just keep playing forever. Just play through the game and you're done. So it's weird how the money, the pain of the money, actually becomes a big part of the game. And I think the mobile games of today have totally, utilized that idea of either you can get through the game with the grind, or you pay money, but you have to face one form of pain, either grinding pain or monetary pain to get through the game. And then you value it more. If you have to pay or have pain, then you value what you got, as opposed to just hitting the free play button.
Sure,
I agree.
So what was at the box office?
Oh yes, on August 30th, the box office, Teen Wolf was kicking ass and taking names. That's right. The 1985 American fantasy comedy starring Michael J. Fox as a high school student. By the way, this was filmed before Back to the Future, and then when they heard Back to the Future was going to be really boffo box office, they were like, let's release Teen Wolf after.
Good idea.
Yes, it did work out well. This teen discovered that his family had an unusual pedigree where he finds himself transforming into a werewolf. And every time Fox transformed into a werewolf, there were untold thousands of high school students who, quote, totally were freaking out, man. He turned into a walking dog, man. It was super duper freaky, end quote.
I have a question.
Yes.
Wasn't there a sequel with Jason Bateman?
There was. It seems like Jason Bateman always makes the sequel to Michael J. Fox movies. I can't remember anything about the sequel other than obviously when they were both, dressed up as a Teen Wolf, they look the same. So
yeah,
whatever.
So that's funny.
Yeah, that's funny, but it does bring up a good question.
It does.
What's in the juke?
Hello and welcome to What's in the Juke.
Is it over?
I think so. So here's the deal. This is the final episode of season 2, which means we're giving away a T-shirt for this contest today. So whoever does the best,
we'll eventually send you a T-shirt in like 6 months when we feel like it.
We'll have to get you to email us your information. So can reach out to
your social.
Yeah, your social security number,
iCloud login.
Yeah. Turns out I'm a prince from Nigeria, and gonna need.
Oh, we don't need to go that way.
Oh, okay. All right. So, okay. I suppose we'll kick this off with some clips that we have here. What do you think?
Do it.
All right. Here comes the first one. There you go. That was it.
What the hell?
That's not even fair. Okay, I'll play a little bit more. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And here we go. Sting, Casey. Sting, Randall. Casey got that first one. That's good. Yeah, there's some infighting. King of Pain is by The Police. Fortress Around Your Heart. Sting. Bronco Billy got half point.
Half point.
And Casey gets a
Half point.
I got that's good. All right. That's Fortress Around Your Heart by Sting. Okay, here comes the next one.
Oh my god.
I don't know if they'll get that one.
This band eventually devolved into like sounding like teenagers in a garage, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah, their next album was awful.
Oh, well, when the one went solo, that was awesome.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. There we go. Oh my gosh. Brian Frober, There Must Be an Angel. Annie Lennox. Oh, he got the band wrong. But he gets half point for that. Brian,
yeah, that's not her band.
Brian, you get that?
Half point.
There you go. What is the band?
What's the band? Boom.
Yeah, Eurythmics. Bronco Billy gets the other.
Half point.
All right, well, I like that. Now, here's the next song. That was There Must Be an Angel by Eurythmics. Here comes the next track.
She's alive.
That's it.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
The key to that song is She Is Alive. I don't know.
Not Thomas Dolby.
They're all thinking I'm Dolby.
Weird Science, Oingo
keep it
Boingo.
going.
That was Brian.
Boom.
Boom.
Full point.
Brian Frober with a full point.
He's in the lead with 2 points. That's crazy.
Sweet. So that was Weird Science by Oingo Boingo. Okay, here comes the next track. Ugh.
I love that song. What do you mean? That song was the shit. It sounds like a
Randall Gelking.
a Tom Petty song.
Paul Young. And Casey gets the other half point with the name of the song, which is Every Time You Go Away.
Half point.
For Randy and
Half point.
for Casey. Right?
Yeah, well, Casey got pulled up into second place. That's good.
All right. Let's play a couple of the rare ones and see how they do. All right?
Yeah.
All right.
Rare by the sucky ones. Here we go.
Here we go.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to do a song from one of our favorite groups. It's called Working for the Weekend.
What?
What the fuck?
That's not it.
By Loverboy.
What is this?
I don't know. This is not it.
That was weird, man.
It is weird. I think it's the beginning of their track. That is the beginning of the video. So the band is obviously Loverboy.
Okay. So I guess
who said that first? Are we going to give that to Brian Frober?
I never saw it.
Yeah, Brian Frober. He gets that. And the actual song is what? Because here's another clip. This is terrible.
It's a classic song. Eugene, what were your extracurricular activities in high school? Let's talk about this.
Randy got it.
I was a big guy in the big man on campus, the chess club, man.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, that was it was cool. I think I was reigning champion for a year or two there, and
sweet.
That was cool, man. I also played with some soccer. Can you believe it? So actually got my jack on and went out there and kicked a few goals. So I loved playing sports. Loved it.
Nice.
So I'm always kind of a gamer.
I can see that.
Sweet.
Wait, how did we score that, dude?
We're giving Randy half a point, and we're giving Brian Frober half a point.
Oh, he's at 3 points now?
Who?
Oh, wait, that was Loverboy, right? So I already gave it. So Brian's in first, Casey and Randy are tied, and Bronco's up in the...
Who got the song name?
Casey. Randy, rather.
Randy got it. Yeah. So make sure he gets that.
I did.
Okay, good. All right. So this next one is, hopefully you don't give the name of the band away in the intro to the song, but here it goes. This is a difficult song. Wow.
I have no idea. Holy crap. Bronco Billy knows this?
Yep. Yeah, it's Test of Time. Who's the band? Yo.
Hello.
Yeah.
What's up?
I don't know.
We're just
gonna...
here.
Yeah,
this
waiting.
is the silence. We're like, nobody knows what it is. Let's just move past this.
Yeah, this is a little tiring. Okay, so this song is going to be just as bad. That was Test of Time by the Romantics.
Okay, let's. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh, I'm just going to skip to the middle and see if anybody knows it. And if you can't get it from that, you're not getting it. And that was my dad's jam. Okay, sounds like...
Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing 2-man. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing 2-man.
No.
Again.
Hi, I'm Al Harrington, President and CEO of Al Harrington's Wacky Waving Inflatable Arm Flailing Tube Man Emporium and Warehouse.
Well,
Thanks to a shipping error, I'm now currently overstocked on whacking, waving, inflatable, arm-flailing tube band, and I'm passing the savings on to you.
Did you just get like a chain email?
Attract customers to your business. Make a splash at your next presentation and keep grandma company.
What the hell are you doing? What are you
Confuse
doing?
your neighbors.
What are you doing?
Are you African American? You can hail a cab now. Testify in church or just raise the roof.
Eugene, did you just hang up?
What? What?
He's there.
Yeah, I would have hung up on that. Whatever you were
doing.
Yeah, but we gotta get that audience back here, man. We gotta get.
Yeah, I know this is terrible. We can't do songs that are this deeply cut anymore. We just can't do it.
Okay, fine.
All right,
fine.
so yeah, that was DeBarge and some crappy song. Who gives a shit? Let's move on to the next song. Here we go. Right. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, Sting.
Casey.
We got Casey. Yep. And Set Them Free, Brian Frober. That's close. If you love someone, set them free. Casey got it both. He gets a full point.
Full point.
All right, next song. This is a tough one in the beginning. You think they'll get it right there?
No.
I don't know. Some people might. That's a good drum beat. It's pretty. Let's try a little bit more of that. Here we go. I don't know. If you don't get it after that, it's pretty good.
Dude, there's a reason why nobody remembers these songs.
Right? These are hard. Like, okay, Casey got Don Henley.
Half point.
So that's good. And he got Don Henley.
Half point.
And Brian got the name of the song with the artist wrong, so we'll give Brian half a point.
Half point.
Half point.
Sunset Grill by Dan Henley. Yeah.
Henley.
Don Henley.
Don Henley, yeah.
And that other song was If You Love Someone, Set Them Free by Sting. He had two songs in the top 10 or top 40 at that time, so that's pretty good. This one's going to be a little more difficult, I think.
Talk to me, don't lie to me, save your breath. Don't look at me, don't smile at me, just close your eyes.
I recently saw these guys in concert.
What?
Yep.
Did they sing this song?
Yeah, they did. They played everything. It was so awesome. They were such a good band. OMD, that's Casey.
Half point.
And the song is... Randy was closely after that. Not Depeche Mode. Yep. No. Song is... So in Love. Andy Baldwin pulled out the track name.
Half point.
Sweet.
Right, Andy on the charts.
Right on. Cool. So that's oh, you know what? They deserve one good song that they can get in like 2 seconds.
Okay.
Who's in the lead?
Actually, Casey and Brian are tied.
Also, this will be the tiebreaker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
1 second.
Casey got the half point, and Power of Love. Casey gets a full point. Wow.
Oh,
Full
Casey.
point.
Casey
Pulled it out at the last
second. All right, Casey, send me your digits on Facebook, and I'll send you a T-shirt. Why don't you give us the rundown of the points so we know what everyone scored?
Well, and I will review this later offline, but Casey came in at first place, Brian in second, Randy and Bronco tied for third, and Andy pulling up the rear at fifth.
All right, cool. So that I think it's time to finish up this interview with Eugene, what do you think? Should we do that?
Yeah. Let's do it, man.
Yeah, Eugene wants to go after this. So yeah.
Yeah, let's get him
We're
going.
Bring him back for part 3.
All right, I'm just gonna play one little intro for you, and you gotta love it. So, here we go. I'm gonna wake up Eugene right now. The jukebox segment is over, and we're glad to have Eugene back on the show. Thanks for joining us again tonight, so we could talk a little bit more about Defender.
No,
man, I thought we already got through that one.
We sure did. Actually, why don't we start with Raw Thrills? I think we talked a little bit on the phone when I first talked to you about how the longevity of the Eugene Jarvis brand in the market. I mean, you were with Williams, you've been in the industry for a gazillion years, and somehow you've kept everything on the rails by starting this company up called Raw Thrills, right?
Yeah. I had the bad luck of it's like every company I ever worked for sooner or later went bankrupt, and so I was at Atari, then obviously I was at Williams. They had some very bad times, and then everybody merged up into Williams Valley Midway, and we had some great years, and then. I think the arcade business, and we had, huge hits like, the Cruising series of driving games, the Mortal Kombat, legendary Fighter series, NBA Jam, NFL Blitz. There was a cool Terminator 2 game, just all kinds of amazing stuff, Mortal Kombat, 1 through God knows how many. And Rush, we merged with Atari on the West Coast, Atari Arcade, and Rush 2049, Rush the Rock, San Francisco Rush. Just some great titles. Area 51 was another great title.
Awesome.
But the console just kept getting better and better and better, and I think sometime in the late 1990s. Around 2000, the Xbox came out. I think it was like PlayStation 2. And all of a sudden, the consoles were kind of kicking our ass, and we really lost a lot of our hardcore players. I mean, partly it's very expensive playing in the arcades. You're popping, 50 cents every... a couple of minutes. I mean, and then finally it got to be like $1 every couple of minutes. Yeah, it's not something you can, play all the time, unless, you're independently wealthy. But
wow.
Maybe not. But anyway, so at the consoles, and just the consoles have such a greater variety of genres and stuff. In the arcade, we're pretty much focused because of the monetization issues. We're focused on short game times, and there's quick rush, kind of real cool, quick experiences. And in the home, you can have much longer formats. You can start playing and then MMO RPGs and all this crazy stuff. And obviously, the FPS games were huge, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Counter-Strike, Half-Life, Unreal, and all that, Epic and all that stuff. I mean, it turned out it was just the golden age for consoles and PCs, and the arcades just kind of hit the crapper. So, pretty much the arcade industry kind of went down the tubes in the early 2000s, and so it was at this point that me and a few of the guys were out of work, and I was like, well, what should we do? And it's like, oh, let's make arcade games.
What do we know best?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that's the only thing we knew how to do. If you're a guitarist, what are you gonna do? You play guitar,
right?
You know, so you know, as bizarre as it was, we decided to try to start a new arcade company and just kind of really focus on the arcade as opposed to. I think Midway they became much more focused on the console situation and the arcade. They kind of just let the arcade kind of die on the vine. And I felt there was still something to the arcade experience and something cool we could do in the arcade with the controls and you know, it's obviously awesome for you know, gun games, you know, with the physical gun controls and the, you know, drivers with the steering wheels and stuff, and like motorcycles with the leaning. You know, you got some cool physical elements there. And
I think that's what makes a good game in a lot of ways, right? Because I look at my arcade game collection, and I have like 25 games in the house and some in storage and whatever, and almost every single one of them has a different control scheme. We talked about, I don't know if we talked about Robotron a whole lot, but Robotron, when your team invented that, how did you come up with the dual stick, right? You wanted something different, and maybe we did talk about this. I can't remember.
Yeah, you know, that was it was a combination of different things. I loved playing Berserk, you know, and had that frustration. Berserk with a single stick, and actually their stick didn't really work too good. They made like this optical stick that somehow, you know, was like one of these newfangled things that was maintenance free and would last forever, and then it failed after 3 months.
Sure. But that's a really unique feel. That Robotron was super unique, but it was you know, you went after the physical part of the gameplay, and I say I want to do something different. But you know, all these, there's the tactile feel of a racing game. You can't replace that, or you know, these games where you're just fully immersed with, you know, whether it's a weapon or whether it's an object or whatever. You got to get inside the game or whatever. There's just you know. So you kind of
have the audio. The cool thing is you have the audio immersion and
right.
You know, we've kind of, you know, some of our latest games we have kind of these environmental cabinets, Jurassic Park, Walking Dead, you know, at Raw Thrills now, and you know, you're totally immersed in the audio. It's almost like a movie theater experience.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But you know, so back in so we were kind of in that era. Early 2000s. I mean, it was like, well, you know, so we really felt, hey, man, we started to focusing on some driving games, and so we were working on a driving game that we started out calling it. You know, we thought, oh, you know, street racing. I mean, we kind of got inspired by Fast and Furious movie, and it was like, hey, let's do a street racing game, you know, and Rice Burners versus, you know, Detroit Iron, you know. All that stuff, and you know, you know, so we said, what do we call it, you know, and we said, oh, we'll call it, you know, there's like, I was like Hot Wheels, so we said we'll call it Hot Cars, you know, like, you know, get around the copyright, you know, save some money. But it was so ridiculous, and people would ask us, you know, like, well, what are you working on, you know, and we'd be like, I'm working on Hot Cars, and like, oh, what is that? You know, it's like, oh, you know, it's kind of like, you know, street racing. And they go, oh, kind of like Fast and Furious? Like, well, yeah. But that was, so we spent a few years on that, and we were having a tough time getting you know, had to rewrite. We wanted to rewrite all the technology, kind of get all the latest, you know, graphics. We started to use a PC as our hardware system, and you know, I mean, we had a great run in Midway with doing all the custom chips and the custom rendering system and everything, but it just got to the point that PCs were now clearly superior to arcade games. And so if you can't beat them, you got to join them. You know, so you put a PC in an arcade game. But you know, it took us so long to get that game done that we were you know, kind of going broke, and so I was like, well, let's do some quick project, get it out in 6 months, and then at least start making some money. So we did It was around the 9/11 era, and it was like, let's have an anti-terrorism game. Target terror.
Yes.
And so that's what that was. It was just the necessity was the mother of invention. We were going broke, and we needed to make some money. So we decided to kind of go back to the digitized actors, the digitized doing fully 3D rendered, real textured environments, and kind of try to get a total hyper realistic, maybe a little surrealistic, anti-terror game that's right now, and kind of playing up the paranoia of 9/11, where like, oh my God, they blew up this, and now they're going to blow up the White House, and now remember there was some mayor of like some little town in Illinois, was demanding that the National Guard protect him, that the terrorists might come to his town, and they would obviously take out the mayor, and there was a lot of just hysteria about this thing, and they're kind of like, okay, the terrorists are going after the Golden Gate Bridge, they're going to blow up the Golden Gate Bridge, they're going to take over a oil tanker, they're going to take over a nuclear plant, and so that was all crazy scenarios, and obviously the final episode in Target Terror is when they're hijacking a plane and crashing it into the White House, and somehow you get wind of this whole thing, and you jump into the wheel well of a 747.
Wow.
And fight your way up. I don't know how you knew this was getting hijacked already, but don't ask a lot of questions with these video game scenarios.
Yeah.
So that was that was Target Terror. You fight your way into the cockpit, and the guy has got the gun to the pilot, and
there was a couple of games out like that. I think Counter-Strike really brought a lot of that to light in PC gaming. How did you adapt Raw Thrills to, obviously you're bringing in Halo now, right? So you must have seen the value in the PC gaming industry as well.
Yeah, well, I think, it's neat that I think, now it's like there's all these great stories out there, and it really doesn't matter if it was a PC game or a movie or, a board game like, Monopoly. It's just, a fun, structure, a fun, theme for a game, and then how to, be true to that, that theme, that story, and make a cool arcade experience out of it. And, Halo is like, it's such a huge cornerstone of, many of the, millennial generation, and growing up, that was, one of the first FPS console titles, and really, one of the great executed and amazing story. Obviously the launch title of the Xbox, created by Bungie, interesting, from Chicago. Bungie started out in Chicago before they were bought by Microsoft and moved to Seattle, and with Halo, and so it's just a great story, a great game, and so it was like I know George Petra, who's the head of our Play Mechanics studio, has been dreaming about getting a Halo license for 10 years.
That's cool.
And so we worked really hard trying to create something that was, we could get, con Microsoft into letting us do it. And we went through all kinds of, it took a long time. They are very serious about their Halo, so.
I have a question about licensing too. So the Cruising series, your involvement in that. What? First of all, give us a little bit, like a short rundown on your involvement in the Cruising series.
Okay, Cruising. So, basically, I created that title back in early '90s, and actually, me and 5 other guys, we formed a small we had this outside group called TV Games, and we developed that. Actually, we had to develop an entire chipset, 3D rendering, texture map, kind of like a Sony PlayStation, essentially.
Sure.
With a team of like Anna Game, and with like 6 guys.
Wow.
And somehow we were able to do it. I mean, made our own chips and everything, and I don't know how this shit worked, but
probably one of the best, the coolest series to come out in the 90s. Is that when that came out? So
yeah,
and it carries on. I mean, and my question about the licensing is, Raw Thrills produces one of the coolest cruising games right now.
Right. So that was it's kind of the last cruising game before there was Cruising Exotica in 2000. So it'd been, I think, like 17 years years, to revive that.
So how did you get the license back? Because assumedly you didn't own it.
We had to work with Nintendo of America to get the license back, and again, they're very protective of their IP and their name. So that took a lot of work, and we had to really have a high quality game, and but it was really cool to obviously the Cruising USA, technology was fairly primitive in those days, and
right.
Texture map polys were awesome, and we wanted to create this whole new genre of photorealism and driving with real cars and but kind of make it a little over the top. It's kind of fun, and it was inspired by Sega's Outrun, really. I know you guys probably love that game. Were you even alive in
Oh yeah.
So we have a couple of questions from the audience.
Yeah.
The first one is from Randy Gelking. He says, "Who was the brainchild on Target Terror? That game is crazy on the Wii."
Right. That was a concept I came up with, and we had an amazing team that really fleshed that out. I mean, it's interesting. When I work on a game, I don't want to write like 100 pages. I want to write like maybe a 2-page concept, and then the cool thing is just kind of team working on it and get all the creativity and all the cool ideas that a really cool development team will come up with, and so it can really it's like you can't come up with everything yourself. It's like you try to like just make it all about you'll have a very small game.
Yeah.
You have to embrace the creativity of an entire team of 5, 10, 20, 100 people, whatever you're working with, and tap into their creativity and just get the best of you need like 1,000 great ideas to throw in a game. So you need to really tap into a lot of people, and it's amazing how great a game can become when you're tapping into an amazing team's creative output.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I know you get credited a lot for inventing all these games, and in fact you led the development team on a lot of them, and you probably put a lot of time and effort into some of the early games yourself. But without a team, there's no way some of these games could happen with the amount of detail and mechanics and everything that goes into making them become fun. So
yeah, and it's like even Defender, which was my first game, and I was the lead programmer and did a lot of content, but there was still my partner Sam Dicker, and had another programmer with me, Larry DeMar, who really helped out in a lot of the aspects of the game. And so it was hardware guys. It was again at least 5 or 6 guys, and any one of those guys, if had been somebody else who maybe was incompetent or something, nothing would ever happen.
Right.
It's amazing how it's like at the right place at the right time with the right team. It's kind of like winning the World Series or something. It's like, yeah, you got this awesome guy pitching, but there's 15 other guys on that team. Or 25, one of others. So it's a very collaborative art form. So, but people always want to, have some guy like this guy did it, because
Sure,
you can't remember 25 people's names,
And speaking of those games around that era, there's another question from Andy Baldwin. This one's about Blaster. He says the warp between levels is drawn vector style, and then the warp sound is the same as Tempest. Also, when you get hit and your windshield breaks, it's the same as Red Baron. Were these intentional references to Atari?
I think we were just unconscious theft.
Yeah.
I think these were like things that are out there, and I guess there were but there were tributes to Atari, but unconsciously we're just stealing everything we can find. That's the other thing. It's like you have a creative team, but it's always easier just to steal shit.
Yeah.
Why come up with new stuff when some other game did it better than you ever could? Just steal that. So I mean, the rapid theft is a huge aspect of the industry, and it's kind of like your cheapest research and development is your competitors' research and development.
Sure.
Let's face it, right. They spend a lot of time perfecting this stuff. So, if you can steal like an element from 10 elements from 4 different games, you're not copying anything. That's an original idea. Once you kind of cross-breeding. Once if you steal, 10 elements from a single game, that's copy. But 10 elements from, 5 different games, you're a genius. It's like it's an original idea. It's like,
yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Adam.
Oh, it looks like Brian Frober in the chat has a technical question. And I don't know that you really want to answer this. He says, what OS do you run your arcade PCs on? Are they Linux or Windows embedded?
Actually we do, today we actually use both. Some games use Linux and some games use Windows embedded. So we're using, both operating systems. Do
you ever have them blue screen?
The blue screen of death? Actually we have a system in the game called a watchdog.
Sure.
Timer, which the game has it's like a periodic sanity check, and if the game misses a wake up call or something, then the whole thing will reset and try to start up again. So that's how we avoid the blue screen of death. But you still get the privilege of like crashing the game.
Right. Yeah.
Get into the particular hairy stuff and all this crap's happening, and all of a sudden like, oh my god.
Well, that's when you just invent a really cool BIOS screen, so that when it reboots, everyone just thinks it's like part of the advertising for the game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and we used to do that in some of the boot up screens. Like, I think in some of the cruising games, we like satellite downlink. We're like talking about all this, boot loading off a satellite or something. And like
that's hilarious.
Kind of a big joke, but yeah, and Windows embedded. Windows tends to have better driver support sometimes.
Sure.
So depending on your graphics card and how state of the art you want to run, sometimes it's Windows embedded can be a good solution. But Linux is really getting pretty damn good these days.
Well, plus it's mostly free. You don't have to pay the Microsoft tax. So.
Right, it is more economical. Although there's all these little add-ons that some really nifty snippets of Windows code of Linux stuff, and some neat. So maybe there's just some really cool tools out there. So you end up sooner or later you end up like paying people money.
Yeah,
no.
It's very true. Yeah, someone's gonna write something you want to pay for.
You just keep. But there's some brilliant programmers that came up with like little shards of code, and they're getting the tax on everybody, man.
Right.
It's awesome for them, and
well,
hopefully they're spending it on in the arcade.
I can't imagine the amount of money that goes into the R&D for one of these games, and then you got to release it at X amount of dollars to make your money back. It's the same problem you had back in the 70s and 80s, right? You still, when you make these games, you make them with commodity components and custom code, and then you release it, and you have to charge an amount that will make the money back for the R&D and all the people that you're paying to make these awesome games.
Right. It is certainly. I mean, actually, back in the '70s, I mean, we made games for like $10 grand or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
Right.
Not really. It wasn't 10 grand, but maybe a couple $100 grand. I mean, so I mean, things were much cheaper. I mean, the industry was insanely profitable in those days. I mean,
when
I think back, I mean, it was, they were paying us, Defender, that we maybe got, $200-300 grand for developing that, the whole team, and then, that the game made hundreds of millions of dollars, and obviously in quarters it was billions for the operators, but the manufacturers were making so much money, it was kind of crazy for a while there. But today it's tougher, it's like the bar keeps lifting, the bar keeps, to get somebody to look at your game, it better look as good as, all the shit that's out on consoles, on, PlayStation, 47 and, Xbox, tag, Xbox One, whatever it's now. I guess the next one's going to be Xbox 2 probably, huh?
Yeah.
But, they're awesome. There's some awesome hardware, awesome code. And so it is, you really have to, the bar keeps getting raised. And so, I mean, the Halo game, our budget was, I think, approaching $6 million on the game.
Wow.
And which, is nothing in maybe the console world, but for an arcade title, it's a lot of cash.
That's a lot of money, yeah.
Yeah. So we're hoping, go get your sweat card, man. And we need to pay
I wasn't joking. Earlier I said I was going to Dave & Buster's this weekend. I am going to Dave & Buster's this week, and we're taking our 15-year-old who's turning 15, two of his friends, and then one of my neighbors is a really good friend of mine. We're going to go. So it'll be 5 of us, and we'll check out that Halo game for sure. But
I appreciate that, man. We got some budget to get the.
So what's the buy-in on a game like that? I mean, are you still charging like standard prices, or I mean, it's all credits at Dave & Buster's, so you don't really ever know how much you're spending.
Yeah, it's around $1, I think. When you go, like you get your whatever they call them, and you turbocharge it, and then you double turbocharge
yeah,
it.
Exactly.
And when all is said and done, I think it's like $1 for something like $1.25 or something.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Play a game. I mean, I guess it's like there's Tuesday. I guess it's like half price night on Tuesday or something, or you get some kind of bonus thing going.
Who cares? We're going on Saturday. We're going to spend full price.
Yeah, and I think they have some kind of deal where you can like get time to play or something. Where you can get some kind of time thing. But I don't think that works on Halo yet. I think Halo, you got to put real money into it.
Yeah. We'll check it out. I think that's going to be awesome. So, Brian Frober has another question. Mark, you going to field this one?
Brian's question is NVIDIA or AMD? I guess he's asking about the graphic card that you guys prefer.
Yeah, for some reason over the years we've always used NVIDIA. But ATI, which is AMD's graphics card guys, they make some awesome cards, and I think it seems like they are, or they were, they're getting, they closed the gap pretty good as far as performance and so forth. But I guess now NVIDIA has now come out with this Turing series, which is supposedly another leap forward, which can't wait to get my hands on some of those.
Yeah, because
it's just, I mean, it's crazy. The more you get addicted to polygons and shaders and lighting, and it's just a never-ending addiction that what was good yesterday doesn't get you high today.
Right.
And so it does blow my mind though, the graphical stuff that we can do today, and
sure.
You look at like a Madden game. I mean, those guys look real. I mean, you can't tell whether it's you're playing football or you're watching a football game. And
it's pretty cool.
And and certainly some of the the RPGs, that have a lot of animation and acting and was it the Rest of Us or something?
Any of the modern games where there's a cutscene, it's like a movie.
Yeah, and it's incredible, and it's kind of like, to me, this is the best era ever for gamers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the stuff that we have out there is just phenomenal. Yeah, and I love Defender and Robotron and stuff, but it is shocking though. You put like a Defender screen next to, the latest Call of Duty or something, and it's night and day. I mean, it's almost like they're different animals, and
sure.
I guess they're going to be working on a new Halo game. I think maybe next year, Halo 6 or whatever they're going to call it.
Wow.
I can't wait for that.
We do have another Defender question.
Yeah.
Dave from Buffalo asks, was there ever a plan for more or less buttons in Defender?
I think everybody, it started out with like 2 or 3, and then the game sucked, so we just kept adding buttons to the game after. It was kind of the inspiration was, it's funny, it really started out like the first. Defender actually had a series of games that we did. And the first was like a bad version of Space Invaders, which that was only a fire button and like a joystick kind of thing, and 2-way joystick. And then, but I think once what turned out to be cool, then we kind of did an asteroid derivation, and it was kind of like to get this kind of flight thing. You played Space Invaders, sideways Space Invaders with your left hand, and then you played essentially asteroids control with thrust, fire, hyperspace was on your right hand, and then kind of like throw in, after a while it's like, these guys were so pesky and shit, like, well, it was kind of like I was like, let's put a smart bomb in, and it was like, well,
let's just blow up the whole screen.
Yeah, but the weirdest thing was like, originally it was like, okay, it was going to be really smart, and it was like going to track down like the closest enemy or something and kill him, and I did that, and it was like, there's like 20 guys that are killing you, and like it tracks down the closest guy and kills him, like, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, thanks. Thanks. It's like holding up a pencil when you're in a sword fight.
Yeah, exactly, and I think it was like, and the other problem was, I think it was a fairly complicated, algorithm for that era, 8-bit simple language computing, and so it was kind of like I really couldn't get that working right, and so I was like, well, what else can I do? Well, I can just blow everybody up with the screen. That's like 4 lines of code. So it was interesting how a lot of the features were just it's kind of like, what do you really want to do? And then like, what can you do in like 5 minutes, and it is, I think that's a big trade-off in all game design. It's resources versus, what your optimal thing is. And there's like this interplay of like, well, I can't give you that, but how about if I just blow everybody up? Like, and we did that, and it actually turned out to be 20 times more fun than the super smart missile that would chase down your newborn child and kill it or something. So it was amazing. It was amazing how cheap and dirty often is the best. Keep it simple and keep it.
Speaking of keeping it simple, I mean, you've gone from the very simple games of Atari and Williams to this massive, raw thrills format of, we got to make some games that are more fun for people to play, and they got to be a little bit more complex, right? So like the Batmobile game where you get to choose your Batmobile and then you have all these missions and you got to do these things, and there's complexity to the game.
Yeah, super cinema. You know, it's like interactive cinema almost.
Yeah, and it's super fun, and I don't dispute that that's a really, really awesome format, and it's immersive and really, really great. But what do you must still feel like awe, you know, like a sense of awe when you put a game like the giant Pac-Man Galaga in, and people just love it.
Yeah, it shows you that and it's weird, like, think about Pac-Man, you know, and there was like, you know, Pac-Man this, Professor Pac-Man, and Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man, and you know, 3D Pac-Man, and God knows whatever iterations, but you get back, you know, it's funny, like, there's just this magic with the original Pac-Man that was just like this super it's just like listening to the original, you know, Rolling Stones song, or Aretha Franklin, you know, her original version of, you know, the version she did of Respect, you know, and there's just like this magic, and like there's no other artist ever did it quite that way, you know, and I think it's just like Pac-Man. There's like this super magic in that some of these 8-bit classics, they're just perfect games, you know, and all the restrictions and limitations of the 8-bit world kind of made the game, you know, because games are about restrictions as much as they're about, you know, ability to do anything. It's really to create a game. It's a subset of the universe, you know, and it's a very fun subset. Think about like Mortal Kombat. I mean, you're fighting on a line. I mean, it's, you know, think about parents have a fighting game. Like, oh, cool, man. You know, you can do this. You can jump around and fly, and you know, jump out of the ring, and you're like, that would be so cool, man. You hang from the chandelier, and you know, dive in. It's like, what really succeeded? You're on a line.
Yeah.
You know, you know, beating the crap out of it. Because one big problem with the video game, and even in a real boxing, is like, how do you get to the guy? He keeps running away from you. You know, like, and so like Mortal Kombat, the dude is stuck on a line. It's easy to beat him up. He's right there. You know, and
get over here.
Like, not like almost one-dimensional gameplay, hardly even two-dimensional. That proved to be the huge winner, you know, and it is like these very simple concepts. I mean, Candy Crush, you know, probably one of the hugest games in recent history. I mean, massive, and you know, it's probably made, I don't know, $100 billion. I mean, who knows, you know, but it's the old, you know, it's a three in a row, you know, match 3 game, you know, and with all kinds of bells and whistles, all kinds of cool stuff. But it's the same, that heart of it is a very simple, you know, 3 in a row match kind of game. And so it is weird. But, you know, I almost like, we do these huge theatrical games, and they're awesome, and I love playing them, but, you know, there's a part of me like, man, I just want to go back and make like some really cool version of Asteroid or something, you know. It's like,
that actually is, that's like totally legit. Like on the consoles, PS4, PS3, when they come out with one of those sort of retro style, like gravity games, that's very simple.
Yeah, like Geometry Wars.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it's like
cool. You know, and then there's a lot. You know, there's this Killer Queen game, which
oh god, that's
arcade.
That's totally Joust, man. It's Joust on steroids.
Taking Joust, but it's kind of a combo, because if you're like, they have these little bears. What do they call them? I forget what they call them. They're little bear guys you run around with, and so it's they're kind of like Mario guys running around, and so it's like Joust and it's Mario, you know. Different weird stuff, and but it was really cool. And there's kind of this underground scene, and it's pretty big. And it seems like a lot of these games are, you know, Killer Queen is out of New York City, but there's a huge underground scene in Wisconsin. I know, you know, I went up to the Midwest Gaming Classic, you know, and I guess it was March or April, whenever it was, and there was like 5 or 6, you know, underground kind of classic style games, either, you know, kind of vector style games, or you know, different, like almost Space Invaders type games, and really awesome kind of new takes on classic themes, classic 2D gameplay, and it was really awesome, man. It's like there's this kind of this underground revolution going on of a new spirit of innovative indie. You know, a lot of it is kind of classic 2D format.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I think there, in modern gaming, it's become very popular, especially in indie games, to make that a thing. I think of Limbo. I think of Galaxy Crash. I think of The Last Guy. Have you ever played The Last Guy? That game is amazing, and it was on the PS3. So it's 10 years old probably now, but
yeah.
It's top down. You got to save a bunch of humans from like these blobs. They use like kind of satellite looking footage, top down, but it's basically you running around with this tiny little guy, picking up little dots and running back to a safe zone, and it's super simple. Those games totally resonate with gamers,
Yeah, no, that's and it was kind of a golden age on the touchscreen iPhone stuff.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, on iPhone.
Angry Birds, and there was Doodle Jump, and there was Fruit Ninja. There was a whole slew of.
And we've talked about like Crossy Road. We've talked about like Crossy Road.
Yeah, Crossy Road. Man.
Freaking Frogger.
Yeah, and a really cool riff on the whole Frogger thing, and that just brilliant, fun, brilliant, just simple, awesome games.
Frantic.
So that there's a theme. I think, and basically it's the touchscreen kind of inspired some new controls, but also a lot of these things like Crossy Road and arcade is just is your game, and. Very cool. Yeah, I love playing that one.
I think there's value in that too. If you think about Dave and Buster's and you're sticking a $1.50 into a Halo game and you're getting 3-4 minutes out of the game, if you can invent something like Crossy Road, put it into an arcade and like have people play for 30 seconds at a time at 50 cents, you're gonna make a ton more money.
Yeah, but I think they still charge you $1.25. They actually get it. I mean, because you get upset. You get obsessed, like damn, I could do that. Like, oh man, train ran me over. Like, oh man, and you gotta, it's that kind of carnival thing, where you're trying to win the stuffed animal. You're trying to, get the knock. You're shooting the bean bags with the clowns, and it's like, how do you, you're just like, oh man, I just have one more to go. Like, oh. I gotta win that stuffed animal. Okay, another $5. It's like,
right.
You bought a $75, $3 stuffed animal at the end of the night, but it was fun. It was super fun, and just that challenge. That's kind of a heart of gaming, and just like throwing down the gauntlet. So there's that's kind of the simple, basic psychology of a lot of games, but. I love kind of this new indie spirit, and I think they get some great games. Obviously, Killer Queen is a great game, and there's a lot of new stuff out there that's coming and that is out there already, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a quick question now. Some of the consideration that I think you guys must put in your mind is that, like, I try to word this correctly. Chuck E. Cheese is not going to have a Halo, is it? Because it seems like I can't go to Chuck E. Cheese as a man all by himself.
You can't.
Yeah.
So do you also sort of decide what games are going to go that are going to definitely work in a Chuck E. Cheese versus, the Dave and Buster's, the adult sort of entertainment?
Yeah, the Chuck E. Cheese decides what works in Chuck E. Cheese. It's like, I mean, I'll sell them anything.
Sure,
right.
Sure.
Well, I mean, I would love to play Halo at Chuck E. Cheese. I love Chuck E. Cheese. Pizza tastes good.
Yeah. No, Halo could be cool at Chuck E. Cheese. I
don't
think,
know, man. You got to go in.
We're trying to make payroll, man.
Exactly. So I'm going to put this out there for anybody from Chuck E. Cheese. If you could just put a separate section for single adult males to go to, I will go. I will buy your pizza.
Oh
no,
my gosh.
It's cool. No, I mean, it's a great place for kids, and they actually do have some very cool games there. I mean, it's just sometimes like I actually go to Chuck E. Cheese, I I feel a little bit like maybe they're going to arrest me, you know?
Yes.
but
maybe they won't. You know what? Maybe I usually bring a child in tow, but if I don't have one, you know.
Yeah.
It's a weird.
It's cool. It's a great place for the kids. And you know, there's some cool games there, and you know, pizza's actually not that bad. It's pretty good.
I agree. I agree. So there's a couple other little questions dangling there before we can wind this up here. What game are you addicted to, past or present, that you play to this day?
You know, I actually, this is, you know, we all have like our guilty little secret, you know.
Yeah. This is good.
You know, the game you're addicted to, you know, and I mean, for years I was pretty addicted to Robotron, I have to admit, and you know, and I just, you know, it's like I'm still struggling with it, and
I know. I love all those little, like, you know, in that entry room upstairs in the at the office is, you know, what you have the wood versions of the Robotron.
Right. Oh yeah. That's cool, but
that's pretty.
I'm struggling, but you know, every now and then I just you know, have to take a break, and the game that grabs me over and over again is, I guess in the U.S. it was called Bust a Move.
Oh yeah.
And
Bubble Bobble.
Puzzle Bobble.
Puzzle Bobble. Yeah.
And it's weird because I always think it's like you go, oh, it's Bubble Ball because it's like bubbles, you know. But really, Bubble Bobble is kind of like a little maze game or something with kind of bubble people, you know. And the game is really known as Puzzle Bobble. Mm-hmm. But you're shooting, you know, it was the original. Now there's a whole, you know, it's amazing how people rip shit off, and there's this whole, you know, on the mobile scene, this whole category of game known as bubble games, and they're all based on, you know, Puzzle Bobble or Bust a Move, whatever you want to call it, and but it's so, I just love that game. I get so obsessed with it, and I love playing the 2-player version, you know, where when you score, you know, you shoot your bubbles, you're trying to get your 3 in a row, and then you get like a big score, all the shit falls down, and the garbage goes on the next guy's screen.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you just dump on the other guy's screen. That's awesome. That's one of my favorite games. Yeah. I have it for the PlayStation 1 actually. But yeah, that's a fun game, and it's based on the Puzzle Bobble characters are from Bubble Bobble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're from the little guys that kind of.
They're like little dragons. They're like little dragons.
Yeah, they're kind of like moving. Do they move your little targeting device or something?
Yeah.
And you know, they kind of hang out at the bottom of the screen. But yeah, oh my God, that game is just. I could play it for hours and hours and hours and hours. And, you know, there's just so many different boards that you go through, you know, and I love it when you get like these setup boards, you know, where like if you hit the one shot, the whole thing blows up and you're out of the screen, you know, but if you blow it, you know, and then you start, you know, it's like you get into a bad thing and you start blocking your stuff and you start building like these stalactites, you know, that are, you know, working their way down the screen, and the whole playfield, of course, scrolls down, you know, and you just get crushed at the bottom of the screen. And it just, it's so devastating, but you just have to keep coming back for more. Yeah, it seems like you never get tired of it. That's my guilty pleasure. That's one of my great. You know, another game I love is the original Space War game. And I guess really I love the arcade version of that from the late 70s. Kind of the game. I mean, Asteroids really ripped off the control structure of that game.
Right.
But that was a classic game. I mean, that game was done in the early 60s at MIT. And that was really that game was before Pong. Can you believe it? Hard to envision that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. But I love it. Just 2-player, you know, 2-player deathmatch. It was kind of the original 2-player deathmatch game, you know, and just the free. I mean, they had that vector monitor. the resolution was just insane resolution. It was like 4K by 4K on like a 19-inch screen. It was just like so crisp. And they could like burn those phosphors in because it wasn't a raster tran, so you could like stick it on one pixel and just like roast the shit. I don't know, you're probably X-raying yourself. Who knows how many X-rays I've taken of my whatever. I don't know, man. We're probably all gonna die. I guess we're gonna die sooner or later. I'll be glowing. We'll look for the glowing coffin. But it's just a brilliant game. And the arcade version is like really sweet tuning, and it had all these crazy options. You could have anti-gravity, you could have gravity, you could have this, that, the other. And but to me, I guess the option, I think it's 8. 8 is the one I play, which is just in my mind perfect. All of their options are bogus, and so those are kind of my guilty pleasure. But obviously you need an opponent for that game.
Right. So I'm pulling up some photos of. I think you're playing a Robotron in an all-white suit.
Larry DeMar is in there.
Yeah. Is that a? It's in 1987.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse for the. I mean,
it's really awesome.
It looks dynamite.
Yeah. There's a picture of you and Larry. I think it's Larry. Is it Larry DeMar? Is that his name?
Yeah, Larry. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a picture of you guys. I think at Williams, playing a Robotron 2084, and you're leaning on some pinball machines. And Larry's having a really great game. You guys must have been like playing against each other.
Yeah. Mysteriously, the curtains match the suit you're wearing.
Oh man, that's probably probably where I got the material.
Well, it's like it's definitely at Williams because there's a picture of you at outside the building with Larry. He's holding something that says R5. And your eyes are closed, and you're wearing a tie. Everybody wore ties. Everybody wore ties except Larry. He's got a T-shirt on.
R5. That might have been when we made the new rods. That were. And this kid's from Canada. Christian Gingras. He came down. This guy.
Gingras. Yeah. I just put a picture of him up there. Yeah.
He had disassembled the code. He kind of read out the ROMs, basically recreated the source code, figured out, all the routines and everything. And, there's some long winters up in, I think it was up in Quebec or Montreal or something. Some long winters up there. And, he basically, he spent maybe a winter or two just totally just running this code in his mind. He had no debuggers or nothing, but he just, the guy is just so brilliant. He ran the code in his mind, and he sent us a list of like 17 fatal bugs that were in the game.
Like free QA? I love it.
and we looked at this stuff, and actually he found there was this notorious bug in Robotron where a diagonal shot. We had something wrong with our clipping algorithm, and you could shoot. Certain occasions you could shoot a diagonal shot, and you'd shoot it right through your program data memory.
Oh.
And basically it was I think it would go through your stack, which was used for like return addresses and stuff. So basically you'd shoot a laser beam through your program, and obviously the program had a hard time running after that.
Yeah.
So. And it would take down the game because the carpets would roll, and it would be very frustrating because it would always occur when you got like 890,000 or 23 million, and so Christian Gingras found all those bugs, and we fixed all of them. And actually, I think a couple of them we didn't want to fix because a couple of them there was like this. Some of the bugs actually did good things.
Yeah.
Like there's a bug that this Mikey bug on the brainwave and some of this stuff. And so we actually didn't fix 3 or 4. We didn't fix them because actually we would have ruined the game. But we fixed all the fatal bugs and issued a new set of ROMs. And so that set of ROMs, I know they're the blue ROMs, or I don't know what they're called, but R5, I don't know. Anyway, they
that's awesome.
Anybody who's a serious Robotron player has those ROMs now.
That's sweet. Well, what do we got left in the chat? Are we all chatted out here?
We're pretty caught up. I mean, I know that 9 o'clock is a favorite cutoff time for Eugene. Wait, what time are you?
It's a favorite
right
cutoff
there?
time for us too. That's usually when we shut down.
Do we?
Oh yeah, man. Midwesterners, man. You got to get up at 5 a.m. and milk the cows.
That's
man.
right. We gotta go. We gotta go to work. But I want to thank you for being on the show again. For our 50th episode. The week of Mark's 49th birthday.
Yes. Only 49. Just a young man.
Yeah. No, congratulations, man.
You made it. You made it.
That's awesome, man. And
thank you.
But yeah, I just I think we had that Madden discussion earlier, and I think I don't want to make light of that whole episode. I mean, that was just an incredible tragedy, and I think sadly, I think mental illness is just this huge problem in our country, and obviously there's a lot too many guns out there, and but the tragedy of mental illness, I think, is something that I just pray someday we'll get a handle on, and we could save a lot of lives.
Sure.
Amen.
Now, I do want to say, because you're not on the computers. Mark has a blaster running in the background.
Well, that's my Super Joust. Blaster's running on the J-Rock board.
Okay.
Now I'm realizing that I wish this J-Rock board allowed me to map buttons per game, but whatever. I love Blaster. I mean, it's such a crazy ass, just flying through this crazy field of all this shit. I don't know what's happening, and like, am I playing Robotron? I don't know I love it.
Yeah, Blaster. I mean, that is a bizarre. I don't know what we were on when we came with it.
Wasn't that like one of the last games Atari made, or Williams made?
When it starts off with vampires, come on.
Yeah, it was vampire cats. I think it was like vampire cats and these weird It's almost like Roblox. I mean, we kind of invented Roblox, man. We should get our royalties on it.
Right.
Like our robot dudes and stuff, man. It's like, damn. It sucks when you're like 40 years ahead of your time, It's like, there's no cash.
Right.
But yeah, it's a crazy game. Obviously, very limited supply of that one. Great collector's thing, and it's kind of fun to play it. But it was really tough, kind of going from the 2D to the 3D thing,
Yeah.
There's a lot of 3D being this kind of really intense form of gameplay, but you kind of lose in that intense, first person perspective. You don't have as much information. You're like you're a football player, on the scrimmage line, and you're like there's some guy, some 300 guy pound in front of you, and you can't see shit. You're just looking at his ass crack,
Right. The advantage of the overhead display is definitely like apparent.
Yeah. So it's like you realize, because I remember at the time, it's like 3D, is going to blow away. 2D will be gone. There won't be any 2D games left. I mean, like, God, and then, what are the, 40 years later, Candy Crush 2D, it's like,
damn it.
Shit, just some huge stuff. And it's like, no, it's not about 3D or 2D, it's just about what is best for the game that you're doing, and obviously 2D it's a lot easier with that God's eye view. We just have so much more information, so it's it's much easier to create a complex play mechanic. But I mean, you look at it's amazing. Like there are these FPSs today, first-person shooters. I mean, Fortnite. I mean, incredible, all kinds of different play mechanics. The building, the shooting, the weapons, the opening the crates, and the whole parachuting in, and all the strategies. I mean, it's a hugely rich game, and then a 3D game. So, it's amazing, how you can get that richness. But obviously, the 2D game there is some charm there and some beauty of a kind of a complete information game that makes for some really cool gameplay.
Nice.
So give us your final word for the night, Eugene. What's your final word on
buy my games?
Go play my games at Raw Thrills. What is?
I think. I mean, obviously there's all these cool games out there, but people that are passionate about gaming. I mean, you always kind of, after a while, everything sucks.
Yeah, you have to refresh it.
You get jaded, and you want everything to be better than it is and everything. So my only message is, if you don't like the games you're playing, go out and make some of your own.
Right.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Love it.
All right. Well, I got to say thanks again for being on the show. Thanks for being our final guest of season 2 and being on the show twice. It's been an absolute pleasure. This is RcadeRadio.com, and you've been listening to Eugene Jarvis. And you can find us on Twitter, not so much, or Google Play, not so much. But we're also on iTunes and SoundCloud, which we're on all the time. And, of course, the YouTubes. So subscribe, like our page on Facebook, and listen again. Season 3 kicks off at the end of October after Grinkfest. Mark, you got anything else to say?
No, I got nothing.
Hey, I just want to say, thanks, Mark and Adam, man. It's so cool to be on your show, man. You guys are awesome. You got some just great, awesome, questions. Great audience out there, man, and great gamers listening in. So it's always a pleasure to be with you guys.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time on the Arcade Radio podcast.
Awesome, man.